You're going to jail for this. Patricia Donovan was screaming like an absolute maniac, face beat, red finger aimed straight at me while 3 police cars boxed in my driveway. And all because I locked a gate on my own property. That's how far off the rails this HOA president had gone. Why? Well, I dared to tell her one simple truth. HOA rules don't apply here. Go ahead, drop a comment if you've ever stared down an HOA and lived to tell about it. But to really get why Patricia lost her mind, you've got to hear this story from the top. It all kicked off on one of those boring Tuesday mornings, the kind where you expect nothing more exciting than the mailman's footsteps. The metallic click of my new gate lock echoed through the quiet street as I checked the mechanism one last time. 30 years as an engineer had taught me to respect boundaries, real and legal. What I didn't get was why 3 folks in business suits were now stomping up my driveway like it was the Normandy invasion. Out front was Patricia, her heels making that click-click that screams, "I'm in charge." Charles Bradley, the board's nervous secretary, gripped his clipboard like it was a life raft, while Lena White, whose role was anyone's guess, hung back watching everything. I'd lived in Meadowbrook Estates 8 years by then, plenty of time to get a crash course in HOA politics. These people ran the place like a medieval fiefdom, collecting dues, barking about mailbox colors, sending violation letters for grass 2 inches too long. But there was one detail they missed. My house was on a grandfathered lot, bought 6 years before their HOA even existed. Their covenants couldn't touch me. Legally, I was Switzerland. But Patricia wasn't the type to let facts get in her way. "Mr. Smith," she called, already using that bossy principal at a PTA meeting voice, "we need to discuss your unauthorized gate modification." I put down my wrench, keeping my poker face. In engineering, I'd learned little cracks become catastrophic failures. This felt like one of those moments just waiting for something to snap. Patricia's smile was sharp as broken glass. "You've installed a lock without HOA approval. Section 4.7 of our guidelines forbids changes to front-facing security features without written consent." Charles started reading off a violation, $500, fine, daily penalties, until I complied. I scanned their faces. Patricia's was all cold calculation. Charles looked ready to bolt. Lena was staring right at my gate, silent and watchful. "That's interesting," I said. "Show me the documents giving your HOA jurisdiction over my property. Because my lot predates your covenants by 6 years. I've got the original deed, title, insurance, and municipal records all on paper." That hit Patricia like a body blow. For a split second, her mask slipped, and I caught a flash of something darker. Charles backed up like he'd just realized his clipboard was made of snakes. "Simple property law," I said, calm as could be. "You have no legal ground here?" Patricia, though, just smiled wider. "That's quite a claim. I suppose you have documentation?" The word interpretation hung in the air, dripping with condescension. But I could see it. She was stalling, testing me, seeing if I was bluffing. "I do," I replied, "and the statutes are clear." Patricia shot Charles a 3-second look, coordinated, not confused. They'd planned for this. "Well, Mr. Smith," Patricia stepped into my personal space community, "standards aren't just about legalities. They're about respect. Sometimes the right thing is following the spirit of the law, not hiding behind loopholes." Her speech was so practiced, I wondered how many others had heard the exact words. "Are you calling federal property law a loophole?" I asked, eyebrows up. Patricia's voice dropped low. "You might want to reconsider your approach. The HOA has resources. Legal fees rack up quick." She was threatening me, plain and simple. "HOA rules don't apply here," I said, clear as day. "Your guidelines have as much authority over my gate as my neighbor's garage sale." Patricia's face went from red to purple, but she held her composure. Charles dropped his papers. Lena leaned in, eyes sharp. "That's where you're wrong," Patricia whispered. "This is about community. If you won't show respect voluntarily, well," she let that threat dangle. "We'll be monitoring your property closely," she said. "Icy as January. You'll find your mailbox busy." And off they marched, their exit as coordinated as their arrival. That's when I noticed the violation notice was dated 3 days ago, before I even bought the lock. The first chill crept down my spine. This wasn't about the gate. This was about control. Sure enough, that afternoon I got a special assessment notice, $1,500 for emergency legal consultation. The language danced around legal authority but implied disaster if I didn't pay up. Patricia was fast but sloppy. The codes they referenced didn't even exist anymore. That evening, my phone rang. Jennifer Parker, HOA treasurer, nervous as a squirrel on caffeine. "I wanted to make sure you got the assessment," she said. "You'll need to speak with the board about the urgency." Something in her voice told me she wished she could say more. Next, Elizabeth Davis showed up, diplomatic, bearing cookies, a smile so practiced you could see the strain. She wanted to chat about the situation. Her advice was just an ultimatum with sugar on top: work with the HOA to find a compromise. In plain English, bend the knee or get squeezed. I held my ground, my property, my rules, but when she left, the cookies stayed on the table and the room felt colder. By mid-afternoon, the neighborhood mood had shifted. Curtains closed, sidewalk chatter died down. People eyed me like I was radioactive. Patricia had made sure everyone knew there was a problem at my place. I got another call. Bill Taylor, old school accountant. "Bob, you're making a mistake. Patricia knows her stuff, and this'll get expensive for everyone." Translation: resistance is futile. But here's the twist: all these conversations, all this paper, the spontaneous neighborly concern, it was a pressure campaign coordinated like a military drill. They'd known about my legal status before I even bought the lock. They were setting a precedent, trying to crush any thought of challenging HOA authority. That night I got a text: "Board meeting tomorrow, 8 a.m. Your attendance required." The chessboard was set. Surrender or fight. I barely slept. I showed up early. The community center looked more like a courtroom than a rec room. Patricia sat at the head of the table, flanked by Charles and a trio of unfamiliar faces. Each seat had a manila folder: evidence, I guessed. "Mr. Smith, Patricia," said, her smile polished to a lethal edge. "Thank you for coming." They started in unauthorized landscaping modifications. A photo of my hedges, supposedly 2 inches too short. The timestamp was suspicious, taken from inside my property, not the sidewalk. "Our measurements are certified," Charles insisted. "Disputed at your own expense." Then unauthorized vehicle parking. A photo of my pickup in my driveway at 11:30 p.m. Contractor sign, they said. But that sign hadn't been on my truck for weeks. The evidence was so precise, so staged, it was clear someone had been surveilling me. Immediate correction of all violations, payment of fees, acknowledgement of HOA authority, Patricia offered. "We'll drop the fines. Surrender everything or the pressure continues." But the kicker came with the next folder: structural modifications to my gate, potential safety hazard. Another photo, again taken from inside my property. Someone trespassed to get it. Patricia brushed off my protests. "File a complaint if you like." Jennifer, meanwhile, looked like she was going to be sick. After everyone left, Jennifer lingered, then slipped a folded note into my hand, an internal HOA memo dated before my violations even happened, outlining a plan to target problematic properties. Mine was first on the list. This was organized, premeditated harassment. I called my attorney, Thomas Harris, who knew every angle of property law. "This looks like organized fraud," I said. He was in. As I gathered documents, Patricia arrived with 2 strangers, one a city inspector, the other a surveyor. Patricia had pulled strings escalating to the city itself, but the surveyor measured my hedges 38 inches well within code. Patricia's numbers didn't match. The inspector checked my gate, no violations. Every crime Patricia invented crumbled in the face of actual experts. When they left, I confronted Patricia with Jennifer's memo, her face drained of color. "You don't understand the full situation," she stammered. "There are people with influence." She left rattled, maybe for the first time. That night I got a message from Jennifer Coffey. 7 a.m. corner diner. Come alone. The next morning, Jennifer laid it all out. Patricia was more than an HOA tyrant. She was a partner in Donovan Development, using her position to acquire properties for a massive expansion. My land blocked the only route to their next phase, so they'd spend 18 months plotting to force me out. Fake violations, neighbor pressure, even municipal corruption. All of it funded by stolen HOA dues. Jennifer gave me a flash drive with evidence, accounting records, emails, surveillance logs. She wanted immunity in exchange for testimony. But the window was short. Patricia was about to start condemnation proceedings. 3 days. That's how long we had to blow it up before the next county planning meeting. Jennifer went to the state attorney general. I prepped my evidence. That night, the community meeting looked like a concert, packed, anxious, buzzing. Patricia took the stage in her best trust me suit. She paraded a fake municipal inspection report, claimed I'd agreed to a settlement, and announced compliance modifications were already scheduled. But I stood up, hit record on my phone, and called her out flat in front of everyone. I've never seen this report, I never agreed to a settlement, and HOA rules don't apply to my property. Chaos erupted. I showed the real inspection report, no violations signed by the actual city inspector. Neighbors started comparing notes, and the cracks in Patricia's story widened. Then I dialed Jennifer live on speaker. "I'm at the State Attorney General's office," she said. "Patricia has been embezzling HOA funds to finance fraud, harassment, and illegal property acquisition." The crowd went silent, then angry. Elizabeth, Bill, Mike all turned on Patricia, realizing how they'd been played. Patricia made one last desperate speech. "Everything I did was for the good of the community." But Lena White, the silent observer from day one, stepped forward. Turns out she was an undercover investigator from Municipal Internal Affairs, documenting the whole conspiracy. Handcuffs came out, badges flashed. Patricia and Charles Bradley went down for fraud, embezzlement, forgery, the whole 9 yards. Number T. 3 months later, I stood at my gate, the same satisfying metallic click echoing through a now peaceful neighborhood. Patricia was in prison. The HOA board was gone. Jennifer was rebuilding the books. Lena had been promoted. And the community was finally focused on real issues: property rights, accountability, and honest improvement. Folks who once glared at me now apologized for doubting, and every dollar Patricia stole had been returned. Funny thing is, I still get letters from people asking how to fight back against crooked HOAs. Patricia's downfall sparked a wave of reform in communities up and down the county. My gate's still there, locked, legal, and a symbol that boundaries matter. So was justice served? Or did I just get lucky because I had the right paper trail and the right allies? Tell me what you think. Ever tangled with an HOA, or worse, seen one melt down from the inside? Drop your wildest story in the comments. And hey, next time someone tells you HOA rules are the law of the land, remind them sometimes all it takes is one stubborn neighbor to prove them wrong.